In 88 BC, Rome was tearing itself apart again. Marius was consul, Sulla was punishing Athens. Both men are teaching Rome lessons of power. That real power in this republic did not come from votes on the Senate floor. It came from the army. And guess who's watching all of this? A 13-year-old boy? Julius Caesar. Taking in every lesson, every act of ruthless ambition. Caesar is sharp. He plans his future. This is a lesson about what that 13-year-old boy will grow up to be. Just as a teaser, before he's 16, he's going to lose his father. He's in a dangerous political marriage on the wrong side of the civil war between Marius and Sulla. He gets a lot of prominent jobs. He travels across the Mediterranean Sea. He's a diplomat. And on the coast of Pharmacusa, he is captured by pirates. One of my favorite lessons. It's what he does at this age. The pirate episode does not just tell you what Caesar does, though. It shows you exactly who he is. And with the help of his new boss, Pompey the Great, let's learn what he will become. Do you know the young Julius Caesar? I'm Mr. Hull, and this is Ancient History. Welcome to Classical Kingdoms, where history reveals truth and wisdom for your journey. We take a classical approach to history grounded in what actually matters, like how pirates matter. Pirates really matter to the Romans, especially at this time. It's not good. There was a pirate crisis that hurt ancient Rome, and Julius Caesar was captured by these same pirates. But Marius and Sulla were both hosting a constitutional funeral. The Roman Republic is in trouble. Sulla's sidekick, Pompey the Great, will try to help. But young Julius Caesar has a lot of ambition. He was taking all kinds of notes, learning these lessons in real time, charting his path to power, to preserve the Senate and the people of Rome. Here comes Julius Caesar. Let's begin. What happens in the great Roman Senate that's centuries old when these leaders are more afraid of each other than they are afraid of failure? Roman Senate. By this time, by 80 BC, 78 BC, Sulla dies, the man who marched on Rome with a Roman army to ensure that he could become dictator. He died by the year 78. His death left behind an institution, the entire Roman Republic, that survived his terror, his reign of terror. He killed his enemies, but it's a huge price. The Senate is now governing without wisdom, without voting, but kind of the lingering fear of what Sulla did, what he set up. So it's like a boardroom that is paralyzed by the ghost of a CEO that was fired, that was violent, that was unhinged. It's dysfunctional. Everyone knows that this is a mess, but nobody can say, they don't want to say it out loud, and they don't have a real clue as to what to do after the death of Sulla. Now, we're layering in a lot more problems and catastrophes because Rome is going to have some rough times here. The urban population, the city, what is the urban population? It's coming close to 1 million people in Rome. There's a lot of logistics, a lot of strength that is needed in a government that's going to keep 1 million people in a city. These residents can't really feed themselves. They don't have farms. Every loaf of bread, every jar of olive oil, it's all coming in by ship. The grains coming in through the port of Ostia. The Romans called this lifeline the Annona. It's the sacred, non-negotiable flow of overseas grain shipments that kept Rome alive. 1 million people. It's a lot. What if that line was cut? Did I say pirates earlier today? The Cilician pirates. The Cilician pirates. They are not like when we say pirates, arg, what do you think? This is more like a nation of sea people. It's not disorganized. These are not random boats, sailing around and stealing your fish. Highly organized sea empire. Probably 1,000 ships are running on this Cilician pirate network. Fighters, they're tough. They controlled shipping lanes, kind of the way a modern cartel would control, illegal drugs or border crossings. It's strong what they've got. And the Roman Senate should be stronger, should be better, but it's really kind of strangled by the mess that it's been in after the Civil War. It's like the pirates were everywhere and the Senate is just not sure where to even reach, where to even try to grab. I mean, this is the same Rome, the conqueror of Carthage, that is now looking at all of their success and potentially 1 million hungry people. Supply lines are breaking down. The pirates have significant power. Now let's shift our story. So now we introduce you officially to the man who will define the next century of Roman history. And he's not being introduced in a battle like Alexander the Great at that age. He's not being introduced as a senator. Let's get to know Julius Caesar from the pirate story. He's on a pirate island and he's demanding his captors give him better food and be quiet when he's sleeping. This is the Julius Caesar who was born as a patrician. He's one of the top families, the Gen Julia, one of Rome's ancient family, tracing their family tree all the way back to Aeneas. His family is connected to Romulus. This makes you a patrician. You're part of the elites. You're part of the 10%, the aristocracy, right? Romulus was the founder of Rome, the first king. Aeneas was the founder of the Latin people, brought the Trojan War heroes that left. And the goddess Venus herself is connected in this. So Julius Caesar, his prominent family was kind of shaken up when his father died in 85 BC. So Gaius Julius Caesar would have only been 14 at that time. And by 15, he's married to Cornelia, the daughter of Cinna. Cinna was a consul. Cinna was a populare. Populare, what is that? Populare and the Optimate, those are the two political parties, the two groups. The populares were Cinna and Marius, where Sulla was the Optimate. So the two factions. By 83 BC, he had a daughter, Julia, making him a father before most Roman boys had finished their rhetorical training. Patricians would be well-educated. Julius Caesar, well-educated and a father, and he's the nephew of Gaius Marius because his aunt was married to Gaius Marius. So he's well-connected in the Marian side, the populare side, well-connected. Big family. But that connection to Marius makes Caesar a walking target during Sulla's purges. Sulla was purging, was taking his enemies, killing them, confiscating their fortunes. Julius Caesar survived, but his enemies were already targeting him with a different kind of weapon. Julius Caesar had to leave town as one of the ways for him to stay safe and stay out of the way. And when he left town at this young age, he took jobs because he had to give up the priest's job. You're not allowed to travel when you're the high priest. So he was a diplomat over in the region, the province of Asia. But then Julius Caesar also worked in the opulent court of King Nicomedes of Bithynia. That was a friend of Rome, Bithynia's. So as a diplomat, he's spending several years there and develops a reputation because he's hanging out there too long. And the optimate enemies, famously Cicero, and we'll talk about what Cicero likes to do and what he likes to say, but he's engaged in narrative warfare. He's calling Caesar a queen, the queen of Bithynia. Who's the king of Bithynia? Caesar is spending too long there for a patrician to be involved in the way he was being involved. Allegedly, the rumors, the speculation, Cicero is pushing that out there. And there was more besides that. The narrative warfare against the young Julius Caesar is not going to crumble or erode at the beginning of this ambitious Julius Caesar's career. He filed that insult away, the rumors. He filed it like it's a weapon that he will use later. Getting back to Julius Caesar on a small vessel, sailing too close to the Cilician pirates. Of course, they're everywhere. They are literally thousands of them crossing the Aegean Sea. Here you see on the map, pirates. They capture him in the fog. Maybe around 75 BC, Julius Caesar is intercepted. His vessel, they drag him ashore. They kind of assess who is this guy? What do we have here? Because this is just a money game to the pirates. They're just going to ransom him, right? We're on Pharmacusa, which is just the rocky, windswept kind of prison for Julius Caesar now for about a month off the coast of Asia Minor. And these pirates figured this guy is worth 2 talents of silver. 2 talents. Ha, 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 ha. It's Julius Caesar. Bursts out laughing. 2 talents. Now, I remember a talent is something like an amount that would pay for a warship for a month. Like it's well over a year or two's worth of wages. 2 talents would be a large amount of money, but Caesar bursts out laughing. It's not the nervous laugh, like, where am I going to come up with that? It's the laugh of a man trying to seem brave and taunting. Some Caesar swagger here because he is showing his disdain. He is insulted by this valuation. What? 2 talents? I'm not worth 2 talents. I'm worth 50 talents. Caesar demanded that the pirates raise their asking price to 50 talents of silver. 50 talents. You do the math. 50 months worth of warships. You're paying all the rowers, all the expenses. This is the amount of tax that some city-states pay annually to the Romans. He's telling his kidnappers that they had dramatically underestimated who this was. This is Julius Caesar. The pirates believe him. Hey, they have a chance to get more money. Julius Caesar is operating on a totally different level, right? Are we building up this ambition that is so big in the story of Julius Caesar, the ambition spiral, if you know what's coming? But this is Julius Caesar operating in a political reality. He's way above everybody else in the room. He understands the Roman world, and he understands that perceived value, not just right now, like he is more likely to live. If the pirates want that money, they're going to keep him alive. They're going to trust that this money's coming. But also, think about when the story is retold. The perceived value of Julius Caesar is not 2 talents. It's now 50. People are going to think, oh, who is this young Julius Caesar? He's worth 50 talents. And pirate ransom. Let's say dignitas. Dignitas, though. What is dignitas? The Latin word, worth, honor, standing. It's kind of a foundation. Why do you need dignitas? Somebody like Julius Caesar, why does he need dignitas? Hey, future politics, future power, future legal arguments and military command. Everybody would know dignitas of Julius Caesar. And if Caesar allowed pirates to ransom him for any less than that, no good. So Julius Caesar dispatches his entourage to go and find 50 talents. Where are you going to get 50 talents this far away from home? This is what he does. His group, his entourage, right? They head off to Asia Minor. Remember, Julius Caesar's already spent a few years working in the area. He's known. They go to Miletus, and 38 days go by. Julius Caesar is, this is a long month. And he is with the most violent maritime bandits, these pirates. Arg. These are men who had criminal empire around the Mediterranean. They are essentially rivals to Rome. Is he worried? Is he scared? No, they were. Listen to Julius Caesar taking command of these pirates, right? It's one of the best visuals because this is when kids are like teaching this in class and they start to mimic Julius Caesar. He's taking command. He treats the pirates like they are his personal staff. When Caesar wants to sleep, he doesn't just politely, he sent his servants to order the pirate camp to be silent. He acted as their commander. The pirates obeyed. When Caesar wanted to do exercise, he joined athletic games and competitions. He's got a whole month. He wants to be with the pirates and compete against them. He does not just join a fellow captive trying to earn favor and make friends. He is competing as commanding officer. He runs drills with his own troops, and he's their poet. Did you know it? He wrote poetry. He wrote speeches. Julius Caesar did. And then he performs them. He reads them. And he forces the pirates to sit and listen. He was, after all, on his way to Rhodes to study rhetoric. What is rhetoric? Rhetoric, one of our classical disciplines, to know how to use words well. And he was going to study rhetoric under Apollonius Molon, one of the best ever on the island of Rhodes. And so now he's stuck on this pirate prison. But he's building skills. Do you sense that? Is that what you're thinking right now? Like, what is Julius Caesar doing? And if you would put a comment about your opinion before I finish off this part of Julius Caesar's story, would love to hear your opinion if you haven't clicked the like button. Do you like when Julius Caesar takes command of his captors, the pirates? He's building skills that are going to help him in the future, and ultimately for his political advancement of the Roman Republic. Now, by the way, grumpy crowd, if they didn't applaud enthusiastic, he would yell at them. He would berate them. He would call them barbarians. What is a barbarian? Remember that barbarian, really the Greek term, that you are an outsider. You don't speak Greek. You don't speak Latin. You're an outsider. You don't get it. You don't appreciate his poetry. You don't appreciate his speech. And when the captors are like, hey, where's the money? It's been so many days so far. Julius Caesar would calmly, repeatedly, without raising his voice, promise that the money is coming, and after the ransom was paid, he would come back with a fleet and nail every last one of them to a cross. Crucify. Ha 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 ha. The pirates had a chance to laugh. They roared with laughter every time. Were they entertained? Were they afraid? This is Caesar swagger. At the time, they thought it was charming, but meanwhile, Caesar's small entourage had traveled to the financial hub of Miletus. Tremendously wealthy city, plenty of money there. So how do you leverage? How do you borrow? When you're far away from Rome. Julius Caesar's a Roman patrician. Who cares in Miletus? Well, Caesar was able to raise the full 50 talents sum. How? Because there was a Greek banker named Epicrates. Epicrates gave the money, lended him the money. Why? Who does this? Who thinks of this? Julius Caesar, if this is his ambition spiral, he's doing some very bold moves here. And I don't want to say what the lesson 55 climax is going to be. No more saying what happens at the end, because if you're new to this story, we are in it. We are in his ambition spiral. But how do you get 50 talents? It's because of the name. So why did the Greek banker lend 50 talents, sight unseen? Because of the name. An ambitious Greek banker like Epicrates sees the future of the Roman world. And what he craves more than anything else is the connection, the Julian connection, the Patrician, like being a part of the Julian clan, being a Roman citizen, being connected to the goddess Venus herself. We're not even far away from Troy, where Aeneas left originally and in Asia Minor. This is one of the most ancient and powerful patrician families, Julius Caesar's family, rescued with the help of this Greek banker Epicrates, held by pirates and now rescued. And now Julius Caesar wants legal justice. Should he have an army? Should he get ships and an army? Yes, yes, that's what's happening next. As a Roman patrician and future leader. By the way, Gaius Julius Epicrates, that Greek banker, will be awarded Roman citizenship. So not really a spoiler, but things go well and he gets his Roman citizenship and gets a place in the Julius Caesar family. So that loan pays off and it's going to matter in future generations to Gaius Julius Epicrates. So that's a nice side story, but let's get back to this army that Caesar is raising. You want to see this happen. Justice. And he sails back. He raises the army. He sails back to Pharmacusa. He captures the pirates. He captures his former captors, every single one of them, and takes them to the authorities. Where? Not Miletus this time. He has to go all the way to the Roman governor, the provincial Roman governor. The capital of Asia is Pergamum right now. That's all the way to Pergamum with all these prisoners. Why is he doing this? The governor there was just a bureaucrat, Marcus Juncus. Marcus Juncus doesn't want to mess with this. These pirates are not a security threat. I mean, yes, they are, but he's a bureaucrat. He doesn't really want to deal with it. And so Julius Caesar does not want to wait. The Caesar swagger says, never mind, I'll do it myself. And he basically was thinking Sulla. Is this something that Sulla would do? In a broken situation where the government's not working, do you just seize the power? You've got an army. Do you just do the deed? He went back to the prison. He ordered that these pirates be crucified. And they were, because he had an army and they did it. Crucifixion is painful, torturous death. The purpose of it is to put you up on a cross, on a tree, publicly so people see what it's like to be a traitor, right? The pirates are going against the Romans. And if you go against the Roman government, the Roman authority, you will get crucified and you will be put publicly in a place where everyone will see what will happen when you defy Roman authority. And so they were crucified. Now, Julius Caesar had them killed early so that they weren't suffering. He's generous like that. But let's get back to the Julius Caesar, who's just barely 25 with no official authority. And he's kind of learning how to be like Sulla. And he's just used it for the very first time. Within 7 years after the pirates had captured Caesar, the Cilician the pirate situation was out of control. We know it because in Rome, the grain prices have now multiplied to levels that working class families could not afford them anymore. So we've got a hungry population of Romans. What do starving people do when your board of directors, when your government can't pull it off? Well, what we've been learning is you need a celebrity general. You know, we've had Marius, we've had Sulla, but both of them had died, and it's now fully 20 years after the death of Sulla. Who's been running things? Pompey has been doing well. Now, he's not the level of dictator or anything that Sulla was. Pompey is doing very well. Pompey at this point was the most celebrated military commander in the Roman world. He's had a lot of success. He is wildly popular. He is a celebrity general, and that's the way the Senate doesn't like it. The Senate has been trying to, slow things down, not have another civil war like with Marius and Sulla. They don't want that popularity, and they don't want ambitious men like Pompey the Great. But Pompey knows how to weaponize that popularity. Do you remember how the tribune, the sacrosanct tribune, is the plebeian, and he's representing the people? And the mob is hungry. The mob is frightened and exhausted. They're putting pressure. In 67 BC, something was passed called the Lex Gabinia, and it granted something so constitutionally radical that even some of Pompey's friends and allies were stunned. It was an extraordinary command, handing Pompey absolute authority over the entire Mediterranean Sea. But what would he do with that? Every coastline within 50 miles of the Mediterranean Sea, Pompey is now being given military command, 120,000 infantry, full disposal of the Roman state treasury. Why? The pirates. Arg! For 3 years, Pompey is now, in name, in military power, totally in charge. And if he's successful, do you think he'd look like a king, perhaps? Or would he look like Sulla? Would he look like Marius? The Senate was pressured into this, and this was a move from the tribunes, from the plebeians. And one famous senator named Catullus reportedly stood on the floor and begged the assembly of the plebs to reconsider, warning that handing one man this much power would set a precedent that could never be undone. Catullus said this. We've already been seeing it. Marius, Sulla. Is Catullus right? The crowd, the mob booed him off the platform, booed him, and Pompey gets the power. I would ask my kids, and I'm asking you right now, do you see anything wrong with that? Don't we need a strong, popular leader like Pompey to be in charge of all the water, all the troops, fix the problem of the pirates? If your family was hungry and a man stood up and said, hey, give me total authority and I will fill the grain warehouses, I'll do it in 2 months, 60 days. Would you really vote no? And don't forget, our friend Cincinnatus did serve and was noble and virtuous. Pompey accepted the command, and look at the map. He divided the entire Mediterranean Sea into 13 to 15 different districts and operational zones. Each zone was assigned special commanders. This wasn't really a campaign. It was like a mathematical precise grid with a dragnet, a coordinated dragnet. And from the Western Mediterranean first, the pirate fleets were caught in Pompey's net before they could even scatter. It's working. It's effective. The Western Sea was cleared in 40 days. 40 days. That same Senate couldn't pass a resolution in 40 months. Pompey fixed half, at least the western half of the problem, in 40 days. Pompey's fleet drove back the pirates to their original spot, this rocky cave-riddled coastline of southern Anatolia. And that's where the pirates are going to have their total demise. That's kind of like what their country was, their launching ground. Pompey even does something that no Roman commander had ever bothered to do. He negotiated a deal. He offers these surviving pirates a surrender deal, lay down your oars, and in exchange, we won't execute and crucify you like Julius Caesar did with some of your buddies. Pompey mass resettled thousands of these former pirates into agricultural communities. He depopulated some of the inland regions of where these pirates once were. Pompey converts sea raiders into farmers, and jubilant crowds in Rome. Grain wagons rolling into the forum. The crisis is solved, and Pompey the Great, he's called Pompey the Great, is receiving special honors. Rome's grain supply is restored. The Annona is flowing again. And by 66 BC, the Senate was grateful. They're happy. The Senate no longer had the political power to refuse the plebeians or Pompey's command, because it's working. So Pompey is given even more authority over another war being fought in the east, Mithridates of Pontus. And the Senate, at this point, has lost control, and Pompey is in charge. He's got the treasury. He's got all these troops that are happy with him and loyal with him. We're still on the same lessons that we started with. The way to power is with your military and winning and success. And that's not what the Roman Republic started off as, but that is where we're at. So what is Julius Caesar? He's our young patrician, and he is not as old as Pompey. He's not in position like Pompey, but he's ambitious. So what is he going to do next? Julius Caesar had success against the pirates. He had success with his dignitas. His personal worth, his authority, his patrician name. And that is like a weapon. And he was successful against the pirates when he did it. And he was acting like Sulla. So what can he be up to? Julius Caesar shows a lot of promise back home as he is partnering with Pompey, supporting Pompey. They're from the two different parties, different political parties, but a young Julius Caesar was taking on more government roles, part of the cursus honorum. Remember, the pathway that everyone must go on if you ever want to be consul. So as quaestor, he was aedile, he paid for the games. He personally paid for the gladiator games. It's one of your government jobs. But most importantly, in 67 BC, Julius Caesar supported Pompey's authority. When Pompey was given so much power and funding and money, this young Julius Caesar was watching Pompey's triumph from the sidelines as a young government official himself, putting himself on the path, taking on the other roles in the government. Finally, by the year 63 BC, Julius Caesar had the top job as Pontifex Maximus, an important guy. And just a few years before, he would go for the top job. And there's more coming on Julius Caesar and Pompey. They have much more coming, the two of them together, because Caesar's triumphs are yet to fully be realized. He did well against the pirates. He was able to raise the army and punish the Cilician pirates who captured him just based on his name. But we're going to see far greater things coming from Julius Caesar. And Pompey will help. Pompey has fixed the grain. He's won the war. Rome is under control. Are you concerned about people surrendering over their power to somebody like Pompey? And if you know Caesar's story, you wonder, is he going to want the same? Strong men, celebrity general, Caesar's swagger. What Pompey did in 40 days, maybe Julius Caesar could have done it even faster. But Caesar's career, his ambition spiral, it's off to a strong start. The Roman people have a savior in Pompey. The supply chain is safe. They have a future in Caesar. The Republic, is it safe? Thank you for taking the time to learn something that matters in all of history. Because kingdoms rise and fall, power fades, but virtue endures.